What's up, Argos Empire? This is Jube from Section 122, ArgosEndzone.com, getting you ready for your next Argos matchup, the return match, as the Argos travel to La Belle Province to take on the Montreal Alouettes. Take a look at last week's game. Awful. See if we can polish this turd up a little bit. Great games from Marcus Ball and Jason Pottinger. Regardless of what the score was, those guys busted their arse in every single play. Overall, though, really weak game. The offense did not operate the way everybody was hoping for. Defense wasn't bad, but there's only so much you can do with that type of field position. Pre missed a field goal. There was the turnover and touchdown, which he has no control over. So it was an awkward, ugly, ugly game. I believe it was the lowest offensive point total since Milanovic took over. Not a good sign. So, dust it off. Moving on, back into Montreal. Now, Argos are traveling. They are the walking wounded right now. Cleon Lang is out. Chad Owens will miss this game. Ricky Ray missing a second. So got Cackard out. Swayze Waters. It's just an awful, awful injury set time of year for the Argos. So, who's going to step up? Great question. Opportunities galore for some of these guys to step up. Going into Montreal, they had a fantastic game against the Owls last time they went to Montreal. Clearly they got something to prove. They claim you learn more from a loss than from a win. I believe the only thing you really learn is that what you tried didn't work that week. So let's see where we go from here. There's been a lot of call for a improved running game from the Argos. Try to balance things out, move the ball on the ground so that Zach Collaros doesn't have to do the job himself. Well, they made less than 12 rushing attempts last week, so let's see if something changes there. No guarantees. Milanovic, he's not doing the play calling, but we're still talking about a former quarterback. Brady, the offensive coordinator, former quarterback. They've had success throwing the ball early, often, almost exclusively. So it's a bit of a transition. Different package, blocking package from the offensive line. So they're playing so well in their pass protection, but it didn't really look that strong last week. It's amazing how the absence of one player, can change the entire attitude of a team. But the attack that Collaros dealt with was nothing what Ricky Ray had to deal with in the last 3 or 4 weeks. The pass protection has been fantastic. So we need the offensive line to step up, get Collaros' confidence back, his opportunity to find the open guy, and he's got to execute when he sees the play and makes it happen. We'll see how it all plays out. Defense side of the ball, again, it was a better game for the defense. It was better. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. Kept them under 30 points, still in a loss. But for the most part, I think they did a really good job of not letting Marsh beat them. Everybody knows Paulie. He was calling it right away that the Montreal offense became very, very predictable in that when Whitaker was in and then Jerome Messam, that it seemed like every first down play was a run play between the tackles. Hopefully the Argos have made that adjustment, can cram that line, stuff them, and come in a second long opportunities, which gives guys like Khalif Mitchell a chance to tee off on quarterbacks and guys like Pat Watkins to make plays in defensive backfield. I'm no coordinator, but that would be fantastic to see that happen. So I think the guys you're going to want to watch this week, I'm looking at Andre Dury on offense. I think he's going to be that Mr. Everything. Watch for a couple of running plays. Watch for the underneath passing plays. A couple of bubble screens perhaps, maybe out into the flat. He's going to be the safety net. Watch him become the focus on the offense with Owens gone and the lack of a running game. Let him get the short yards passes, make plays with athleticism in his legs and his eyes. Keep an eye on Andre Dury on offense. Defense. Again, with this running game that Montreal seems to be sticking with on that first down, you're looking at the guys in the middle. The linebackers make plays. If the defensive line holds the offensive line, that lets guys like Ball, McEwen, and Robinson make plays. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a Marcus Ball week. Building what he did last week and his success in the East Final last year in Montreal, he plays well out there. Let's see him step up again. So that's who I'm picking to keep an eye on this week. But who should you be following this week? I mentioned Andre Dury. The man's on Twitter. So check it out at AD32. It's a little complicated, but keep an eye on him. He's only been on Twitter about a month-ish, and never afraid to tweet his feelings. A lot of good stuff on there. He's in there frequently without burying you. It's good to get a little bit of insight on what's going on in a pro player's life, and he's not afraid to comment on what's happening with other games as well as his own team. So give him a follow. Tell him Jube sent you. He'll probably say, who? But on to the prediction for this week. Based on what happened last week, I'm expecting the Argos to bounce back. I'm expecting Montreal to get complacent. I honestly think the last two Als wins have been more about their opponents losing than them winning. So if the Argos can dictate the offensive line, if they can dictate the line of scrimmage, I see an Argos win. Now maybe it's not that huge spread like I was calling last week. Let's call it a 21-17 win. 21-18. Count for the Rouge. Okay? Keep it in mind. Enjoy the game, guys. Sunday night, it'll be a blast. So make sure that you like over here, you comment down here, anything else you want to see. Remember, Jube of the Year voting is still happening, so check that out. But until next time, this is Jube from 122, saying we ride the rail and we ride it hard.